ya. Watching them movies and talking about them too. We got so many favorites and they're waiting here for you. We got movies for kids, but don't be mad because we also got the movies meant for mommies and dads. Come on down. Cinemassacre Video. Come on down. We're right next to Caldor.
Today we're going to talk about what do you think is the most underrated action film. Now, off the top of my head, without thinking about it too hard, I think Dragons Forever. That is, I think, the best Jackie Chan movie. It is unbelievable, and I don't know why. I very rarely see it come up on top 10, Jackie Chan lists, but it ranks number one for me. And yes, I did not forget about the Drunken Master movies. I think it did well in Hong Kong, but in the domestic and Japanese markets, it didn't do very well. I wonder why, because it's mostly because of the last fight scene. At the very end, you have multiple fights happening at the same time. You have every trick in the book. You have slow motion. You have, getting knocked into a pile of boxes. You have crashing through glass. You have actors falling from great heights and hitting things on their way down. And you see them hit the ground with no cutaway. Like it's not broken into shots. You see it just in one take. They fall. They would really hurt themselves when they did this. All these movies, you feel the pain, everything you watch. There's really great camera angles. Like a lot of times it'll go to like an overhead view when somebody leaps in the air. It's just this dazzling fight scene. And it's Jackie Chan, Sammo Hung, and Yuen Biao. I mean, they're the three dragons. That's right. And they did a lot of movies together. And I think of them together so much where, like, whenever I see Jackie Chan on his own, I always think, well, where's the other two dragons? Because they all have such a distinct personalities. Like, they're all so different. And in this movie, they play kind of quirky characters. Like, they're all really kind of weird. And there's a lot of slapstick in this movie. So it has a lot of comedy. And that's when the action at the end really sticks out, because you're not expecting it to get so legit, because you go into it and it's kind of like, oh, this is this kind of funny, like, slapstick kind of movie, and then just bam, it goes for the action and like really hits it hard. And the main villain, Benny the Jet, who's like this real serious kickboxer.
Benny and the Jets?
Oh no, no, but they call him Benny the Jet. He's like world class. Like he's like has like this really like amazing record and stuff. Like he's like the real deal. Actually, Jackie Chan fights him in Wheels on Meals. Also, that was before this. But this time, I think they really got to know their fighting styles enough to get to choreograph like one of the best fights I've ever seen.
I really got to check out Jackie Chan's like early work. I'm not too familiar, except for Jackie Chan, Who Am I? I'm not really familiar with a lot of his like foreign work.
I love Project A is one of my favorite Jackie Chan movies, because it has that. I like the comedy mixed in with, and the acting is great. Like that's what Jackie Chan. Good dude. I've never seen this or heard of it, so.
Oh yeah, you gotta check it out.
I love this.
And the Drunken Master movies, 1 and 2, you got to see those too.
For most underappreciated or underrated action movie or whatever, I was gonna pick City Hunter, the Jackie Chan film, where they're on the cruise ship, where he's Chung Li and stuff like that. But I think that's underrated comedy.
Yeah.
Because that's the trouble with a lot of Jackie Chan movies. They fit into both categories. He's a funny guy and a great singer.
Yeah.
在泪光里，你最美丽。
So I was thinking, I was talking about it with Ryan. He was like, "Oh, do like Equilibrium," which was like that Matrix.
That is a good movie.
Yeah, which is pretty good with the gun kata. But I figured we might talk about that on one sometime. But it's not that. I thought of going into my vast Steven Seagal knowledge, as the world's largest Steven Seagal collector, as you all know. And going with like Mark for Death, which is probably one of the best of his first 5 films. I thought I'd do one that probably none of you guys have really heard of, maybe, which is Wasabi. As the tagline says, it's for those who like their action raw.
Yeah. This is my favorite Luc Besson movie, actually.
Really?
I fucking love this movie. Yeah, I love this movie.
Now I have to watch it.
It's so good.
So the movie's all in French and Japanese.
Yeah, and you got to watch it in the French, by the way. Like the dub is real bad, but like the French makes sense.
And in the movie, basically, Luc Besson didn't direct it; he wrote it. But in the movie, there's a French cop who's played by Jean Reno, and he gets kicked out of France or like forced to go on vacation because his tactics are so cruel and he's such like a badass kind of guy.
He punches the mayor's son in the face. That's like what leads to it because he raids that club.
He's a hothead.
Yeah, it's like he's like, I didn't know what the kid was saying, and the kid runs up and he's like, I'm the mayor's son, and he just punches him.
And so it turns out his old girlfriend dies, and she's Japanese because he used to be a French special agent in Japan, which is interesting to think about, like Cold War stuff. And so he has to go to Japan where he finds his daughter that he didn't realize he has, and it's all about like kind of fake raising her because she doesn't know who he is, and they're fighting the Yakuza.
Yeah.
And there's all these great scenes where like Jean Reno has to like he's playing DDR.
Yeah.
He's in a Japanese arcade and there's like a shooting game, but he's actually shooting real guys in it. There's a whole scene where they're in the department store and his daughter's trying on clothing and he's like attacking guys who are coming out of nowhere. It's just this amazing film. You should definitely.
It's really good. It's shot crazily too. Like it's a lot of neat stuff in it. Like it's little comic booky, but it's like it's great. It's a really good movie.
Like, the main bad guy's like into like golfing, so he's in one of those like giant golf driving areas. It's just Wasabi's just so interesting, mainly because it's like it's a foreign film, like it's a French film, but they're in Japan.
Yeah,
there's just so much going for it, and it was Luc Besson in like his like solid years, I guess. So check out Wasabi.
Wasabi.
I'm choosing my favorite Keanu Reeves film, Speed. Now here's the thing.
I don't think that's underrated. Not underrated at all.
When it comes to like scores and when it comes to like because Siskel and Ebert gave it 2 very enthusiastic but like no, so the thing about Speed is the reason why I say it's underrated is because when anyone says like give me a list of your favorite action movies or give me a list of even your favorite Keanu Reeves action movies, like people are going to say The Matrix, they're going to say John Wick. They never like first say Speed.
I think I would hit Johnny Mnemonic before I hit Speed.
Well, that's what I'm saying, like Speed, but this movie has like everything. I mean, it's got like the beginning of it starts off with them with the elevator. They come riding in, him and
elevator scene is
him and Jeff Daniels.
tense.
And they're trying to get the people out of the elevator. Then it goes to him like the next day going to get lunch or whatever, or getting breakfast and everything. The bus explodes. He tells them there's a bomb on a bus, and if it goes above 50, it arms the bomb. The second it goes below, and then that whole scene where they're on their bus for that like long, they have to they have to jump the thing. They have to go to the airport. The one woman tries to leave and she blows up. It's such a tense action film.
It is. Now, I do not disagree with the choice, but I just disagree that it's underrated because everybody I know, I guess everybody I know loves Speed.
Here's the issue I found with the movie. The last act with the subway, after everything, how tense the bus is, the bus, you're on the edge of your seat. By the time you get to the subway, it's shot like real static. The subway doesn't feel like it's moving fast. And I wonder if that has to do with like the rear projection. The model, like the bus crashing into the plane looks great. The miniature effects with the elevators looks great. You get to the subway crashing and it's not a good miniature. It looks like an old man took up his toy set and threw it.
I've probably always watched it on VHS and I've never noticed.
No.
But I just feel that this movie doesn't get as much, like when it came out, it was a phenomenon. It was made, the Simpsons and everything, they made fun of it with the bus that could never slow down.
People were calling it the best action movie ever when it came out.
That's the thing, but that was at that time, and I feel like as time went on, so many other things came out. Because if you sit there and I say like, what are your favorite 90s action movies? And without you hearing this.
It's not underrated, it's just forgettable.
It's not forgettable. It's totally memorable. It's extremely memorable. It's just that this movie...
People remember the bus stuff. I get what he's saying.
This movie should be way higher on everyone's list. It should be like Keanu Reeves in this movie should be thought of it the same way as like Bruce Willis in Die Hard or but even still, if you sit there and you think of like who are your favorite action movie stars, you're going to say Schwarzenegger, Stallone, maybe Van Damme, maybe Bruce Willis. Like you're not going to say Keanu Reeves first.
I don't know. John Wick is getting up there, man.
But that's what I'm saying nowadays. But that's John Wick, not Speed. And if it weren't for Speed, we wouldn't have John Wick. We wouldn't have Matrix. Keanu Reeves, I don't think would be seen because you know who was going to be originally in the Matrix? Will Smith.
Yeah.
They were going to get Will Smith to be Neo. But thankfully,
Will
Keanu
Smith
Reeves
is great in everything I've seen.
But he's
him
not going
in
to be
pretty
good.
much,
He's going to go, wow. You know what? If I'm controlling Rewind, I want to be Matrixy, and I want Fortnite. That's what it's going to be awful. So, Keanu Reeves, this is his best action movie, in my opinion.
Well, you know what his best line is, I think, in that movie is, okay, they're on the bus, and I think Sandra Bullock, she accidentally knocks over this, like, baby carriage, and she thinks there's a baby in there.
Right.
But it turns out it was just groceries. It was just like cans. So everything's okay, and then Keanu goes, just cans.
No big, it was full of cans.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Oh my god.
Tense, great movie. Go watch it.
I just don't think it's underrated.
Another thing with the ending, I think, is like Dennis Hopper's great in the movie.
Yeah.
Besides like Frank from Blue Velvet, this is like his best villain role.
Jeff Daniels.
And Jeff Daniels. But like I think like he's so smart, and it's cool seeing like the mind games they're playing, and then in the end it turns into like just a schlocky fight, and his head gets knocked off. Like,
I mean, it does like he gets his head like.
Yeah, well, I'm tall. You're dumb. I'm taller.
I'm taller.
Yeah, Speed's great. It's one of my favorite movies of all time.
What you said,
and
pop
it's
quiz
kind of
hot
underrated.
shot.
Yeah, pop quiz hot shot.
I had a really hard time trying to figure out, like, I looked at my DVD collection for like hours and hours. I'm like, what's the most underrated action? And then it finally hit me. Speed 2 Cruise Control! Oh my god, Speed 2 is great. I fucking love it. Who was in Speed 1? Keanu Reeves, you said?
Yeah.
Fuck Keanu Reeves. Jason Patrick is a man's man. Now, Speed 1 opens up with that elevator scene, you know? Screw that. Speed 2 opens up with an ice cream man stealing computers, and Jason Patrick's got to chase him on a motorcycle, and then he bumps into Sandra Bullock, who's driving a Volkswagen thing, and, you know, he's so badass. He's part of the Suicide Squad. That's what they call his police division. Name one bad thing with the name Suicide Squad. You can't. Speed 2 is great. John DeBont really like hit his stride with it. And I mean, look, a bus. Who gives a shit? I ride a bus every day. Buses aren't scary. Now, a cruise ship, that's scary. You're in the middle of the ocean.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah.
You had this shtick the entire time.
I like that there was another DVD case over it.
I wanted him to talk about the...
You were going to do the rundown.
I didn't know it was going to come up.
Guys. Siskel and Ebert gave it 2 thumbs up.
No, they didn't.
Yes, they did. It's on the DVD. 2 thumbs up.
Yeah. Give me see. They gave this 2 thumbs up, but this got 2 very enthusiastic thuds.
Guys.
I can give a thumbs up.
Guys, I got more stuff here. All right, the bus jumping the bridge, right? Fuck that. It doesn't compare to the lowering of the lifeboat into the water very slowly scene. Jason Patrick jumps onto the boat. If he doesn't jump, it's going to fall slowly into the water. He stops it from falling slowly in the water. That's intense. This came out before Titanic.
Oh.
And it has amazing, like the flooding, the engine room explodes. I'm pretty sure James Cameron ripped it off.
Was it 1996?
1997, both the same year before Titanic. So James Cameron,
he made it really quick then. He had to make the...
I don't know the whole production of Titanic, but I'm pretty sure
it was in production for a little bit longer than this film.
Well, it could have taken too long to make Titanic.
Yeah. How many UB40 songs are in Speed 1? None. UB40 themselves show up in Speed 2.
Really?
Wow. Yeah, they didn't show up for Speed 1, they show up for Speed 2. Wow. And Lucy from Twin Peaks also. No one from Twin Peaks in Speed 1. This actually isn't a joke. The CGI in this movie is actually pretty decent for the time. Like, the ship, like, I can tell it's CGI, but it's, like, blended pretty well.
So is the character... What was that, a recasting?
Yeah,
or?
No. They write
it's
Keanu
not
Reeves
Jack.
out of the movie. They say he gave Sandra Bullock mace, and she thought it was perfume, and then she broke up with him. But the end, actually, one of the craziest scenes, the boat, like, can't be stopped. It narrowly avoids an oil tanker, and it's heading for a town. They built, like, a huge set for this thing. They built, like, the front of a ship for this thing. They rammed it into this town. It is, like, crazy. And, you know, this ship, remember when the bus hit the stroller with the cans? Yeah. Did that stroller explode?
No.
I mean, when the ship hits a tiny boat, for no reason, the boat explodes as if it was carrying hundreds of pounds of dynamite.
Maybe it was.
And it is amazing. It is an amazing visual effect that people ignore. And Willem Dafoe is great in the film. He is insane. He has leeches that drink his blood. It's so good. And also Jango Fett from Attack of the Clones is in it. And they were both in Aquaman. I think this movie prepared Willem Dafoe and Jango Fett to be an Aquaman. So you have this movie to thank.
And you're wearing a fucking Aquaman shirt.
Yeah, the
you
signs
son of a bitch.
Fun fact, before this started, I told everyone, hey, let's not talk about Speed 2 too much. Let's save that for another day. I want to go after you because I got a funny setup to my thing that I think you'll appreciate.
People came to watch it for underrated action films, and it can't be 50% Speed.
No.
Shitty movie.
To be fair, I think this has some pretty good action in it.
Can I just say, we did too much Speed.
Yeah, I'm starting to come down. Let me tell you.
So if you want to see an actual underrated action movie, which I think is the greatest thing ever, I'm pretty sure it's Kieran's favorite movie. Watch Speed 2.
And you put the rundown on it.
How dare you?
I almost did the rundown, and then I kept thinking about Speed because you mentioned it. I'm like, oh, I got to do Speed 2.
Tony, I'm just going to say I'm highly disappointed in you and stabbed eyeballs.
God damn. The boat crashing scene goes on for like 10 minutes. I kind of want to splice in Rodney Dangerfield from Caddyshack into the scene. So that's maybe how we'll end the episode.
Funny, yeah.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, and stabbed eyeballs.
Move over, Swanson. I'm driving. I almost got hit from $1 million.